Good morning.
Hey, Jen, good morning. How is everybody there? So good to see everybody's faces.
Right. It was a great weekend. How was your weekend, Laura?
It was awesome. It was great.
Typically, we have music playing right now, but I have to go catch a ferry to Block Island for a wedding tonight. So,
So no music then?
no music. I'm not on my regular computer, and this one.
Yeah, I hear you. That's exciting, though.
Yes. A Monday wedding.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it is. All right, we're going to give it a couple more minutes for everybody to filter in on this lovely Monday morning with no music. Laura, did you want to sing?
No one wants me to sing.
So, Jen?
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Do we still doing the New England, what they call it? I forgot. At 2 o'clock today too?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I
I'll be
missed it
doing it remotely.
I missed it a couple of weeks, and last week I was on vacation, finally.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes, we will be on at 2 o'clock today. We have great content to share with you. We have 3 social media posts and a text message or Facebook direct message.
I'm not getting a lot of activity from those at all.
Maybe you could share it on your business page or have your friends, ask your friends, deploy your friends for help. Say, hey, would you mind sharing this for me? So that way, you could get some more engagement and stuff. Being a little proactive with them is never a bad thing either.
Yeah. I did a couple videos from the training, and I noticed like a lot of people review it, which is I like the videos.
Yeah, and you know what? They'll tell you, I think, what is it? Is it his name Brandon Hook? I think it is in that, or Hook Point. So it's not Brandon Hook, it's called the Hook Point. He says that it's really not about the likes you get. It's about the views and how many people are really following along with you. So don't take it as not getting likes as not successful or no comments as not successful. When people are looking at it and you keep doing it consistently, you're building your brand and your awareness by doing it consistently. And then it's kind of like a ripple effect, like all of a sudden shows up and then it starts rippling with people are saying, oh, did you see this? Or, they keep you top of mind. So even though you don't get the interaction, don't think that it's not working.
Okay.
Laura, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I think you're spot on. And I also, I think it's also important to make sure you're mixing up those types of posts with just personal posts, get people to know you. They will tend to interact more on the static real estate posts if they know you. And also make sure you're interacting with other people at a high level, because then they'll start interacting with you.
Yeah, I do a lot. I mean, I put like I did like my vacation last week to South Carolina, Charleston. Perfect. And I see a lot of comment. And when I do something personal, definitely I see big difference. And if I see anything on their Facebook, I make it more personal. Perfect. I do add some word that like more touchable word, So I do that.
Yeah, so they're definitely seeing it then. So I would agree with Jen then. If you're doing all of that, then they're still seeing the static post. They may not be commenting on it, but it's still brand awareness and mind share.
Yeah, thank you.
You're doing it all right, though. Good job.
Thanks.
Absolutely. All right, I was putting that on. I don't think I did the link last time. So there it is. It's easy for you to click on that. That's for the 2 o'clock call in the chat section. All right, Laura, it is 8:32. We have so much content to go over in the next 43 minutes. And we want to make sure that we get everything in or as much as we can. So good morning, everybody. Welcome to week 2, session number 4 for our MREA series. I'm really excited that you have Laura Strunk on here as your instructor today. She's a team leader out of Cape Cod. I'm going to let her fill you in on all her accolades. It's amazing. And you guys are going to love today's session. So Laura, I'm going to let you take it away. And I'm going to be here for any questions or anything you need. So
Awesome. Thanks, Jen. So I'm so excited to be here. When I saw the list of topics, this is the one I picked. I should have looked at how many pages were in this topic though, because I have the largest amount of pages. I told Jen over the weekend, I said, it's a good thing I'm a fast talker because we got a lot of information to go through today. So I'm going to be moving fast today, yet I'm happy to answer questions, etc. So I am the team leader here on Cape Cod and Colonial Partners. So we're also across the bridge in Plymouth. I'm also, though, if you are an agent, I also have a team back in Maryland. I lived in Maryland for 21 years before moving back home, and that team still runs. I was a productivity coach for 4.5 years, and I'm a Keller Williams approved trainer. So I credit the MREA book and these 4 models, which we're going to go over today, with my ability to have a business that I have today. The fact that I'm living in a different state and my business continues to run in another state is a direct reflection of the MREA models. And that is why I'm so passionate about it. I can tell you, when I came to Keller Williams 10 years ago as a single agent, relatively successful, and yet I hit a ceiling of achievement and I could not break it at my previous brokerage. I had plugged into that brokerage, used every tool that they had to help grow my business, and it just, nothing was happening. And I had been talking to Keller Williams for about 2.5 years. And when I joined Keller Williams, I turned to the team leader and I said, you've been telling me for 2.5 years, oops, sorry, I'm dying all of a sudden, that you have models, systems, and tools that will help grow my business. And sometimes I take hard lines in the sand, and I said to the team leader, I said, you have 6 months. Tell me what the models are. Tell me what to do. I will not change it. I will not think about it. I will do it. And you have 6 months to prove to me that it will grow my business. And so they shared with me the first 2 models of the MREA models. We're going to talk about all 4 of them today, but they shared with me the first 2 models because those are the ones that are directly related to production. And I did exactly what I said I would do. I didn't change it. I didn't think about it. I just implemented it. And I ended up doing, in my first quarter at Keller Williams, the same amount of business I had done the whole previous year at my previous brokerage. And so that is why I love the models at Keller Williams, because it works. Now, one of the times that I took bold, something was shared with me that I want to share with all of you. They call them models, not menus. So what I mean by that, right? You go to a restaurant, you have 30 choices on what you can order, and you pick what you like, and you don't order what you don't like. The models are not menus. You cannot go through this and say, I like this part, but I don't like this part. I'll do this part of the model, and yet I won't do this part of the model. It won't work at the highest level. Okay. And so oftentimes when I coach agents and they'll say, yeah, I'm following the model. And I'm like, well, really? Are you really following the model? Or are you following portions of the model? And typically when people are not experiencing the growth that they're looking for, it's because they're picking and choosing. So follow the model is my best advice I can give you. So today, in the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to give you an overview of all 4 models. Okay. So that's a lot of information. And yet we're not going to go deep into each of them. I'm just going to give you an overview. So the first model is the economic model. Okay. The economic model is near and dear to my heart because before I understood the economic model, I would go to work every day and I would lead generate every day. And yet every day I had to make a judgment based on how I was feeling, or I don't even know how I made the judgment of if I had done enough that day. Have I done enough to move my business forward? Was this enough activity to cause my business to grow? And usually I think I quit more than or sooner than I should have. It wasn't enough. What the economic model does is it helps you break down exactly what you need to do, how much you need to do of it in order to get the results that you want. Okay, it's very formulaic. Okay, it it just gives such clarity. When I understood the economic model, I almost became, I explained, I almost became like Rain Man. You know how in the movie Rain Man, he just kept saying something over and over and over again and like couldn't get out of that thinking or that head. That is what I became when I understood the economic model. The economic model helped me understand that in order for me to hit my goals, my income goals, I need to go on 2 appointments a week with a new buyer or seller. And so that was like my Rain Man. It was 2 appointments a week, 2 appointments a week, 2 appointments a week, 2 appointments a week. Like I didn't think of anything else. And so I would just lead generate until I hit 2 appointments a week. And that is what I focused on. Okay. So what happens with the economic model is it starts with what you want to make for the year. Okay. How much money you want to make from real estate. It takes into effect, or it takes into perspective, how much money you're going to spend to run your business. And then it breaks down based on conversion rates, based on how many appointments you have to go on to get how many listing appointments you have to go on to get a seller to actually hire you. How many sellers actually have to hire you in order to go to a closing. Same thing on the buyer side. So it breaks it down based on conversion rates. And if you don't know your conversion rates, you're like, I don't know, because I remember the first time I did this. And I remember my team leading saying, well, how many buyer consultations do you go on in order to get, you know, a buyer to agree to work with you? I'm like, I have no idea. I'm not even sure I'm doing a buyer consultation at this point. They just call me up, say they want to see a home, and I go out and show a home. I don't know. Is that a buyer consultation? So I had no frame of reference. Okay. And so I didn't know those things. And yet the beauty behind being the largest, most successful real estate company is that we have the data within our company. So we know what kind of the norms are. So until you have your own data and your own numbers, you can use the numbers that Keller Williams provides into conversion rates. And it literally takes down all of those factors, how much you want to make, all of those conversion rates, your average commission rate, your average sales price, and it breaks it down so you figure out how many appointments you need to go on with a new seller every week and how many appointments you need to go on with new buyers every week. And it provides that clarity to you. Okay. So it would be like thinking like, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds, and yet I have no idea how much energy I'm putting out. I don't know how much exercise I'm doing, and I don't know how much I'm eating. So I've tried to lose weight in the past by not paying attention to those things and just having the will of losing weight, right? Like, oh, I'd love to lose 20 pounds, but I'm not going to pay attention to how much I'm exercising. I'm not going to pay attention to what I'm eating. And I'm just going to put it out in the universe and it's just going to happen to me. Well, guess what? That weight doesn't come off. It helps you identify, here's how much you have to exercise, here how much you have to put in your mouth for food and the type of food, and then therefore that's the results you're going to get. It's the same thing from a real estate perspective. The beauty of the economic model that I love so much is that people think when they start with, I want to make $200,000 this year. It seems very overwhelming until you break it down to the number of appointments you go on a week. I have done the economic model with hundreds, if not close to 1,000 agents, and I've never seen anybody break it down where they have to go on more than 4 appointments a week as an individual agent. Okay, teams are a little bit different. Okay, so most of the times it's either 1 or 2 appointments a week. When you think about it that way, everybody can go on 1 appointment a week with a new client. Okay, that's a very tangible, easy thing to focus on. So it's definitely focusing on the appointments. My recommendation for the economic model, start tracking your numbers. And you can start tracking very basically. Okay, start with how many appointments you go on with a buyer or seller. Break them down to seller and buyer side, by the way. How many appointments do you go on? How many of them hired you, meaning they signed a listing agreement or they signed a buyer agency agreement, depending on what state, they may be called different things. How many of them went to closing? Okay, start there. Okay, that will help you learn your conversion rates. Eventually, you want to add on your conversion rates to how many conversations you're having with people, how many conversations you're having with people about real estate, because that's going to take us then into the lead generation model, which is the next model. Okay.
So Laura, real quick, where could people do this if they didn't know how to put things somewhere in a magical place of things that Keller Williams has for us?
Yes, you can put this in opportunities in Command, Brooke Silva. It's amazing. We have different stages that you can put in. This is an appointment, and then it's signed, and then it's under agreement, and then it's closed. The reason it's built that way is a direct reflection of the economic model.
Isn't it funny how commands the MREA and even more granular than that back it up, right? Because when you're looking at a contact, you can see how many touches, how did I get them, where do they live in my world? And then you can also go even further back to see how did I get this person to this stage?
Absolutely. Yep. It's a wealth of knowledge. It's awesome. All right. So let's move into lead generation model, the second model. So lead generation model is, so we've now identified in the economic model how many appointments you have to go on every week. And then it's like, okay, I get it. I have to go on one appointment a week. Yeah, that sounds simple. One appointment a week, one appointment a week. How am I going to get that one appointment? Right? So we're talking about that lead generation. And this is the lead generation model. They name it really clearly so that even us real estate agents can understand things and remember things, because sometimes we don't pay attention to those details. So here's the thing that I love about the lead generation model is it talks about lead generating in many different ways. And one of the things that I heard from Gary Keller at Mega Camp one year, I think it was Mega Camp, it was either Mega Camp or Masterminds, I just can't remember. And he said it so simply. He said, our business is a relationship game and a numbers game. Meaning it's all about the amount of people we have conversations with, and it's about building relationships. Okay, so don't view, sometimes we get stuck into, I have to make X amount of contacts a day. And it feels very cold. It feels very unpersonal. I don't want to build my business. I hear this a lot from agents. I don't want to build my business by just, dialing through a list and da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't either. Focus on building the relationship. This is something we're even talking from the team leader perspective. We just had Jessica Fox-Wimmer on us, and she asked us to focus on whatever number your relationship is with a person, just try to take it 2 to 3 notches up. So if you have like a 5 relationship with someone, every interaction you have with them, you're trying to get it to a 7 or an 8. If you have a 0, meaning you've never met the person, someone walking into an open house, for an example, your goal for that open house is just get them to a 2. Just take that relationship a little bit further in every conversation and every single interaction. Okay, you're building trust and rapport. Okay, and yet though, you do have to have conversations, and you have to have conversations consistently. Okay, it can't just be a one and done type of thing. It is a numbers game, meaning you have to continue to talk to people and different type of people. Okay, now what I do want to talk about, what they break down in the lead generation model, is the difference between prospecting and marketing. Okay, let me make it very clear. You need both. Okay, marketing is like some of the things that they're giving you on the growth initiative calls at 2 o'clock, where they're giving you the social media posts and you just post it out there, the smart plans in Command that just go out automatically. All of those things are marketing. Okay, and marketing is very important. Understand that. It grabs people attention. It keeps that mind share. It allows you to do the heavy lifting when you're not able to be maybe as interactive. Okay. However, The number one thing that I see agents try to do to build their business is to only do marketing and not prospecting. Okay, marketing is static, meaning you're putting it out there, you're relying on someone else seeing it and interacting with that. Prospecting is proactive. You are doing something that causes someone to respond. It's around a conversation. Okay, you have to have both. Here's the best example of why you need to have prospecting as part of your business. And I will say, like, honestly, take a reflection on yourself. And if you're not at the level of business that you are at, and you're like, I do something every day to promote my business. How much of it is marketing and how much of it is it prospecting? My gut is it's probably too heavy on marketing and not enough prospecting. This is the best example I can give you. I want you to imagine that when you guys all got on this call today, instead of talking about the 4 models, I said, hey, congratulations, everybody. I bought you all a brand new, shiny private jet. Each one of you have a jet. Brooke is so excited, right? It's blinged out. It looks exactly how you would want it. It's yours. You don't owe anything on it. It grabs your attention. It looks pretty. It's shiny. So it does have impact. And guess what, folks, though? You don't have any jet fuel and you can't get any jet fuel. So what are the chances of this beautiful jet ever taking off? Slim to none. And Slim has left the building, right? So you might be able to push it down the runway slightly with enough people, okay? But it's never going to take off. Prospecting or lead generating, or if you don't like those words, talking to people about real estate is your jet fuel. Without conversations, that beautiful plane will never take off. Okay, you must have both. So in the lead generation model, they've basically broken down people into 2 different types of people. They break it down into more, but I'm going to focus on the 2 types of people, your Mets and your non-Mets. Okay, the best way that I can explain this, your Mets are if you are walking down the street and they see you and you see them, they're like, oh my gosh, how are you? It's so good to see you. I've missed you. Okay, they recognize you, you recognize them. You like, know, and trust one another. Okay, that is a Met. A non-Met is someone that you possibly have talked to before or interacted with before, or you want to talk to, interact with them. However, you walk down the street, they walk down the street, and you look at each other and you don't even know what they look like. Like you don't recognize each other. Okay, so for example, an internet lead, okay, a command lead. They responded to an ad, you picked up the phone and called them and you had a conversation with them. Okay, they are a non-Met still. Okay, even though you had a conversation with them, because if you walk down the street and they walk down the street, they will not recognize you, will not recognize them. You're building that trust and rapport and connection. Okay, what your goal is your goal is to, with your Mets, is to continue to strengthen that rapport and that relationship so they are just giving you referrals and using you for business just automatically. You pour into them, you love them, okay? You add value to their life, okay? Because you already have a relationship with them. The non-Mets, your goal with the non-Mets is to gain that trust and rapport so they start to feel really good about you so that when they do have a real estate need, they use you, okay? It's not quite there yet because they don't know you, you don't know them. You have to earn that, okay? Now, we have, within the lead generation model, we have different type of systems and tools that allow for the interaction to happen, both from a marketing perspective and a prospecting perspective, okay? So the best smart plans, Brooke, I'm gonna call on you, are the best smart plans, Brooks, the ones that you can just set and forget it and you never have to be proactive?
Yes and no. So you're touching. So do you want to know exactly which ones I love for this, or do you want me to just answer?
No, do your thing, Brooke. Yeah, tell me what you love.
So I love biweekly neighborhood nurtures. I love quarterly call plans, and I love, people know this, birthdays. God, do I love birthdays, because you get 4 touches with the KW Birthday Smart Plan.
Yeah, so this is what those are my 3 favorite too, by the way, Brooke. No surprise, since we're like besties, right? So anyways, so you know, the biweekly neighborhood nurture, that it's very, very personal to the person, because it's about their neighborhood, and yet it does happen automatically. It is marketing based. And then you can see Brooke paired it exactly with a quarterly call smart plan, which is prospecting based. You are having a conversation with someone about real estate. So they're getting the marketing, they're getting the prospecting. And then the birthday smart plans is a combination of both. Some of them are static, okay, a social media post, and then some of them are proactive, sending them, you know, or calling them on their birthday, sending them a text. So it's a great, this is a perfect example of what a touch system, whether it's an 8x8, 12x12 direct, 36, that doesn't matter, okay? It is a combination of static and personal, okay? I wish I could tell you all that you never had to talk to someone about real estate. It just doesn't exist. It's just not the reality. You have to have conversations about real estate. Okay, so that is how you kind of use the system. And when you are doing it consistently, both the static, the marketing, and the proactive, that is when the referrals start to come. That is when the momentum is there. Okay, now, if you're not doing it at all, meaning the conversations, I mean, if you're not doing the static stuff, talk to your tech person in your market center, talk to your leadership, get on training, start to do that. And then if you're not doing the prospecting, don't feel you got to go from where you are now to run a marathon. Okay. What I tell agents is pick a number, and I don't care what number it is, as long as it's not 0. Pick a number that no matter what, every single day you can have that many conversations about real estate. So even if it is 1, if you just decide every single day I'm going to have 1 conversation about real estate, no matter what, my head does not go on my pillow at night without having that 1 conversation. So today you have that conversation, tomorrow you have that conversation. What's going to happen is there's power, it's compounding interest effect. It is the power of doing something consistently over time. And what's going to happen is after about 2 weeks or so, you're going to sit there and go, you know what? It's kind of easy to have 1 conversation a day. I actually think I might be able to have 3 instead of 1. And then you start having 3 conversations a day. And then you start to have 5. And then all of a sudden you look up and be like, oh my gosh, I talk to everybody about real estate every day. That's my new habit. Okay. But don't feel, if you're sitting on your couch, not doing any exercise, you're not going to stand up tomorrow and run that marathon. It's the same with lead generation. Okay. Pick a number that no matter what you can hit. There is great value in putting your head on the pillow going, you know what? I did my job today. Good job. I did it. Okay. And build from there, from your confidence. All right. So we're now going, I'm sorry. The last thing on the lead generation model is just a point, and you hear this a lot, as you all know, you want to focus your business on listings. The reason that is so important, and I know you guys talked about the triangle leads, listing, leverage, and so I don't know how much you went into that already. However, listings brings additional clients at a higher level than buyers. Okay, because there is marketing pieces around listings. It's not like you're driving around town with a buyer in your car and there's a flag on top of your car saying, I'm showing homes to this buyer. Okay, if we could figure that out, then maybe we would change the model. Okay, but on a listing, there's a sign in the yard, there's there's web presence, there's all of that stuff. Okay, just remember that bold law, what you focus on expands. When I intentionally worked on switching my business to be more listing heavy than buyer heavy, I switched my lead generation conversations. When I talk to people, instead of saying, asking them if they knew any buyers or sellers, I just asked them about sellers. Hey, can you think of anybody that's planning on selling their home in the next 12 months? There are some important changes that are happening that they need to know about. Leading with value, right? And even though I was asking about listings, I would still get buyer referrals. It's not that they forgot about buyers. It's just that was the focus. And that was the year that I shifted over to having more listings than buyers. Okay, what you focus on expands. People grow into the conversations around them. If you talk more about working with sellers, you're going to get more sellers. Okay. All right, let's switch to the budget model. I think the budget model is the model out of all four that is probably ignored the most because people don't like to look at their money. It can be very uncomfortable. Okay, the budget model literally breaks down how much money you should be spending to run your business in all different areas. Before Keller Williams, I had no idea. I spent money based on my gut. I think this will work. It's worth a shot. I had no idea if what I was spending on the money was actually in line with what I should be and whether it was actually working because I wasn't looking at it. At the end of every year, I would take my box of receipts and give it to my CPA and they would do my taxes. And then I'd realize how much money I spent and how much money I didn't spend. And that's how I ran my business for my first 17 years being in this industry. And then when I understood the budget model, one of the biggest things that I can the biggest advice that I can give you, okay, because it's hard to get, sometimes you get into the weeds around the money. Just look at your money frequently. And what I mean by that, I'm not saying like take out your dollar bills and stare at them. I mean, that can be fun too. However, just start with a simple spreadsheet. Here's how much money is coming in every month. Here's what I spent the money on this month. Just 2 columns. And look at that at least once a month, if not every week. The more you start paying attention to what's coming in and what's going out, the better financial decisions you're going to make. By the way, this is not just true on your business money. This is true on your personal money. Okay. So, I understand there's been many years and many times in my life that I was in financial pain that I didn't look at it because I didn't want to see it because I was afraid I was going to have a mental breakdown. Okay. I get it. And once, even when I was still in that financial place, when I started looking at it on a weekly basis, that is when things turned around. Okay. That is when I made decisions not to spend money and instead was paying down my significant credit card debt from real estate. Okay. Even though I didn't like to see how much debt I had accumulated at that point in time in my business, it was important because I was starting to chip it down. Okay. Because I was realizing I was just spending money for spending's sake. It is the whole idea of lead with revenue. I will tell you the number one financial mistake that I see most real estate agents make is they are presented with an idea that will help them grow their business. And they will say this, well, it only costs $4,000 a year. If I just get one sale from that, whatever, product, service, lead generation thing, if I just get one sale, it will cover it for the year. Okay. The problem with that is the purpose of any business is to make a profit. So you should not be spending money with the hope of just covering the expenses. And that ends up what's happening. And so, yes, you might get that one sale that would cover that expense. And yet that's not the purpose of a business. It's to get profit. Okay, so lead with revenue. Okay, so bring the revenue in and then spend it versus spending it to get the revenue. One of the other things is play red light, green light. I will tell you what, one of my best reasons why I love COVID, and I know that's a strange comment, and there's many horrible things that came out of COVID, and I hate it, and yet There are a couple gifts that we got out of COVID. One of them is many agents, for the first time in their life, in their real estate career, took a look at what they were spending and they cut expenses when COVID first hit. In that first month, 2 months, when we all didn't understand what is the impact of COVID going to be on real estate, are we going to actually ever sell a home again in our life? People were cutting. I was coaching our agents in our market center, and agents were saying, I cut 40% of my expenses, and they haven't gone back to spending that money. So it was a great trimming exercise. You should be doing that every quarter. You should be trimming like there's a global pandemic about to come every single quarter. Okay. And then stick to your budget. When you start to look at it every single month, you will know that there is seasonality impacts for your business. Like I can tell you every February, that's my month that I'm looking at like my expenses and the things that have come in, and it doesn't look the way I want it to look. And yet, because I've tracked my numbers for 10 years, I know from seasonality that it does work itself out. So like my assistant has to talk me off the ledge in February, being like, no, remember, this is the trend that we see every year. It's in line with that trend. Okay. It literally breaks down how much you should be spending on salaries, lead generation, technology, supplies, every piece of it. Okay. So the budget model is a great one. This is when you start to focus on the budget model, you are becoming a business owner. That is your first step to becoming a business owner. Okay. It's because you understand your money. Business owners understand their money. People who are just doing a job don't understand about profitability. Okay, so, that's how you become a business owner. The last model is the organizational model. Okay, and so the organizational model is building your organization. Okay, it really talks about who you should be hiring, how you should be hiring, what that should look like. However, I like to take a step back because there is a first form of leverage before there is a living, breathing person. Your first and most important form of leverage are systems and tools. Okay, I'll just break it down really simply for you. Before I was treating my business as a business and I was an individual agent before Keller Williams, a seller would say that they wanted to sell their home, and then I would have to scramble to put together all my materials to go out and to meet with them. Okay. When I started to understand about systems, I had my policy still on my team is at any single time, there has to be on our shelves 10 listing appointment packets and 10 buyer consultation packets. So that if Jen Bovey calls me today and says, Lori, we want to sell our home, come on over at 11 o'clock today, I can grab that folder, throw in the comps, and I can go and get that listing signed. That is a system. That is leverage because it allows me to be more efficient. It allows me to get more done in my day because I have a system around something. And I'm just using that as an example. Command is a great way for systems. That's what Command is built on. Okay, so I just wanted to talk about that before we go into the people. However, the organizational model does talk about the people and hiring for your business. Ultimately, there becomes a ceiling of achievement that one individual agent can't do anymore because they don't have enough time. They have too many leads for the amount of time that they have when they have the best systems. So, hiring that administrative help is the first form of leverage, okay, versus hiring a buyer's agent, okay? Make sure you're hiring admin help first, okay? So they're doing all the 80% while you're doing the 20%, interacting with the clients, lead generating, servicing them, okay? There is a whole system within Keller Williams around how to hire right, how to find talent, and the steps you can take. If you're looking to hire or you're already in the process of hiring people, please make sure you take career visioning multiple times and follow the model. Okay, I'm going to go back to, it's not a menu. I find it fascinating when I meet with my own agents in my market center and they say, we're hiring someone. I say, great. Did you take career visioning? Yes, I did. Okay, great. Are you following the career visioning process? And they say, yeah, we KPA'd them. Okay, great. That's 10% of the model. Is it a menu or is it a model? It is a model. There's about 7 or 8 steps in the career visioning process. You can choose to do whatever you want. And for it to be successful, you should choose to follow the entire model. Okay, you want to hire talent. Don't wait until you are so desperate to hire someone, because then you're going to hire someone who's non-talented, and the cost of hiring a non-talented person is huge. You can lose clients. You can be in lawsuit. I mean, it is, we could tell you horror stories. I could tell you horror stories of choosing to hire someone out of desperation because I wasn't following the model, you know, and what that means for you. Okay, so once again, there is a whole process. Career visioning is really the biggest piece to that. And what I will tell people is, if you are choosing to build a team, what you have to build first is your leadership skills. Okay, leading a team has just as many skills as being an individual agent, if not more. Okay, you really have to focus a lot on your leadership skills, how you communicate with people and how you interact with them. Okay, in some ways, selling real estate is much easier because you can control yourself. Okay, so there are so many classes and opportunities within Keller Williams to develop your leadership skills, and it's the biggest opportunity out there. When I first took career visioning, I came back to my team leader and said, there's no way I'm doing that. That's way too much work. Okay, I don't want to have to get to know people in that way. And yet they encouraged me to push forward, which I did. And it's what allowed me to move back to my home state and to be 10 minutes away from my parents. And my team, this is the start of year 5 of me not living in the same state where my team is running at a relatively high level. That's what leverage can do for you. It creates opportunities. So those are the 4 models in a nutshell. I think I did it in my time allotted, Jen Bovey. Challenge accepted. What questions do people have?
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Hi. So I understand the models and not to pick from a menu, great. And I love that you you compared it to exercising or just setting goals in that way. That's really helpful to go to relate to. But my question regarding the organizational model for career visioning, do you have any advice, or is there any way that you could advise on if we're not ready to hire and if we can't get out of our own way in certain regards, that's not about hiring but just growing? I was thinking
so your first hire should be, a coach. No one should be in this business without a coach. There's nothing I feel more strongly about. That's what they do, is they help. We all get in our own way. And the coach is what's going to help you get out of your own way.
Can I say something?
Thank you.
Sure.
Hi, it's Karina from Plainville. Anyhow, I started out first leveraging the technology that we have. And then when I got to the point where, I'm not fully leveraged as much as I can, obviously, with technology, because it's very difficult. But I did that. And then I went in and got a coach. And when I got a coach, it kind of really changed my business. And I am looking into down the line hiring my husband to do all my administrative work because that's his strong point.
Yep.
So like I have a plan. So
That's
I
awesome.
think that's kind of, you got to start small and start leveraging what you can with technology.
Yep.
Then, you know, find
Yep.
a coach. And
You're
then,
absolutely right. Systems and tools are your first technology. And there's, as people are putting in the chat room, there are gaps in regards to other type of leverage besides hiring someone, transaction coordinators, you know, TCs, all those types of things. But you're absolutely right. Systems and technology and tools, those are all systems and tools are your first technology. And in regards to the question that Callie asked, which was like, I'm getting in my own way, whenever you're getting in your own way, that answer is a coach. And we all get in our own ways. I get in my own ways like every 5 minutes. So, I mean, we all need someone to help us get out of our own way.
No, I have a question. Can I ask the question?
Sure.
This is Joyce. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Career vision. How do I go about, attending a class? Is this something at our office that they offer us, or?
Sometimes market centers will bring it in. There's a lot of career visioning classes that are happening virtual right now. So like I just took career visioning a couple months ago with Brad Knowles. He does it pretty consistently. There's a handful of, Jen, what would be the best way for them to find all the career visioning? Is that on Connect?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would look on Connect first or talk to your market center leadership because they're either having it come in, the region's either having it come in or Brad Knowles is teaching it. One of those three things will absolutely happen. So
and Melissa just put Brad Knowles is having it on June 28th and he's great at career visioning. I mean, it was the first time I took it with him and he did a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
So I took the class, the career visioning, but where can find a little bit more how to fill the gaps before you hiring somebody, because again, I know I need to get a coach to push me of that, but when I ready and really, I think it's probably when my older one get out of the couch and I stop paying 70,000 a year for her. But how to find the people to fill the gap, like just maybe don't help like as a salary, but hourly basis. I don't know what is the best way to deal with that.
That would be a virtual assistant or a transaction coordinator. There's lots of companies out there. And once again, your leadership in your market center should have a list of, if they don't have someone internally in their market center, they should have a list of companies out there that have transaction coordinators, and that allows you to kind of piecemeal. I want help with this. I want help with that. I want help with this. And you can, the best part about that is you can really follow the budget model because you can do red light, green light.
Yeah.
So if you're dealing with 4 transactions this month, you can hire a transaction coordinator, help that in that moment, but maybe next month or the month after, you only have 1 transaction. So
is it like people, do I need to train the people? This was my husband, he's a software guy. He told me like, get the virtual assistant, but I never worked with this kind of virtual assistants. Don't they need to be trained, or you can train this person and then go back to this person all the time? How I just
so all companies do it differently. Most of the companies that have virtual assistants, they do some of their base training and then you're training them specifically on your needs. And with a virtual assistant, you're usually hiring them for a certain amount of hours per month. So they will stay with you per month. If you're just doing transactional coordination or leverage hiring, like I want someone to do my social media posts for me, they're already trained on how to do that. And then they're just doing it for you. So it just kind of depends. There's a couple different models.
So I need to look at this more.
Yeah, I would recommend reaching out to your team leader and really talking about what the best option is for you and for your business where you are now.
Yeah, I think that will be a good start. Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, Laura. Well, this is the end of our session here. You did an absolutely fabulous knockout job, like I knew you would. And any final questions? We are a couple minutes over. So any questions before we jump on to our lead generation portion of our day? Like how we threw that in, right, Laura? What's your number today, Laura?
Well, we have our big party tonight, so it's like 50, I don't know, 50 conversations.
Wow, awesome. Well, I see Brooke's 10, mine's 10 as well. I'm going to be talking on a ferry over to Block Island soon in the rain. So.
Perfect.
All right, guys.
Awesome.
Have
All
a
right.
great Monday. I'll see you at 2:00. 2:00. Don't forget, we have our growth call at 2. See you then.
Have a great day, everyone.
Great job, Laura. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, guys. Have a good day.